I don't take my kids to movie theaters. They want popcorn, you get to the seats, and they're thirsty. You get back to your seats, and they need the bathroom. You get back to the seats, and Daddy, who's that? What's happening? I don't know. Then they want candy. Then I finally settle into a seat and watch the credits. I think that's why so many movies these days put that little scene after the credits, because they know the dads with their kids are just getting settled in. How was the movie? I don't know. But I got a good workout walking back and forth in the movie theater. Every time the cost of a movie ticket goes up, a new Robin Hood film comes out. It's a form of taxation. Every 5 years we have to pay the Robin Hood tax, which includes a time tax of 2 hours. But if the message is robbing the rich to feed the poor, shouldn't the movie company pay me $15 and donate some Twizzlers for my starving children? Movie companies love Robin Hood because he can't be owned. He's nobody's property. He exists in a special Sherwood forest called public domain. He's a brand name without copyright. And Robin Hood heroically rescues Hollywood from facing its greatest fear, having to come up with a new idea. Before there were sequels and prequels and trilogies, there was Robin Hood, which was movie studios making the same movie over and over and over again. I heard there's a new Robin Hood movie that came out last year. I haven't seen it. I pay my Robin Hood tax in a different way. Whenever a new one comes out, I just rewatch the Disney version with the foxes, where the sheriff goes around muscling peasants for coins so the king can sleep on a big pile of sacks of gold. Maybe that's why he's so cranky. Those medieval gold-stuffed beds were terrible. If he wasn't so sleep-deprived, he could have thought about it and used that gold to stimulate the economy. Hire those musical peasants to build a proper road around Sherwood Forest. But then I think at least he's more realistic than the other Disney kings. I mean, how did that fat guy in Cinderella pay for the ball? Except by sending leg breakers to squeeze the peasantry. All those Disney royal palaces, how were they paid for? Except for Elsa from Frozen, letting go of the medieval agrarian economy to build a castle of ice. I assume every generation of film goers has a certain soft spot for whatever version of Robin Hood was current when they were 11 years old. I like the one from the 1990s that somehow takes place in the 1960s, but with hairstyles from the 1980s. It's got a good communal hippie theme, plus it's got Kevin Costner. I'll watch anything with Kevin Costner. Like the King Arthur legend, each new generation's Robin Hood film claims to bring startling new evidence and enhanced historicity. And then when it's over, we realize we've seen nothing but an update of special effects, which make the film even less realistic. With every film, Robin Hood blows up bigger and bigger and bigger stuff with a bow and arrow. How do you blow stuff up with a bow? Now that's Hollywood magic. But long before there was Hollywood, long before special effects, even before the novels, the Robin Hood story begins with an ancient pagan folk dance. A piece of community musical theater that was thrown together each year as part of the English celebrations at the start of May. It was a festival of fire and fertility to welcome the spring. You know, Easter is imprecise about the coming of spring. Easter being based on Passover, which originated in warm places like Egypt and Israel. But in Britain as in Western New York, we don't expect blushing floral outbursts in mid-April. I do, but then Elizabeth always tells me I'll have to wait till the start of May. May is a much more safer bet for this pessimistic climate. Robin Hood originates in these ancient fertility pageants not as a bandit bowman, but as a mischievous forest spirit. Hood is not the thing you wear, and it's not the place you live. It's an old word for an oak log that could be burned to bless a house. Robin Hood, also known as the Hobgoblin, also known as Robin Goodfellow, is sometimes pictured as a faun or a satyr, a man with goat legs and horns, which the church leaders adopted as a symbol of opposition to the Christian gods, inspiring our imagery of the devil. The Robin Hood dance also involved other characters which could be played by village plowmen. The strongest and handsomest bachelor would be called Little John. The second best bowman would be called Will Scarlet. The town drunk would be dressed up as a mock Franciscan, and they would call him Friar Tuck. And then there was Maid Marian, who appears in early versions as an English version of the Greek huntress goddess Artemis, Diana. In a folk song, Marian is celebrated as a sovereign of the woods, chief lady of the game. With bow and quiver armed, she wandered here and there amongst the forest wild. Diana never knew such pleasure nor such deer as Marian slew. But she was often played by a man in drag. Robin Hood legends do preserve certain historical realities. During the eras of Christian control, indigenous rituals had to go into hiding, like the merry men in Sherwood Forest. The 1st of May was called Beltane by the Celts, the fire of Baal. It was celebrated with bonfires whose smoke would purify the livestock animals, and sky-clad witches would leap over them for divine blessing and protection. Villagers would dance with brooms and with chimney sweeps, those who purify the passageway of the hearth fire. There's an odd reference to this in the old Disney Mary Poppins, where the witch dances with the chimney sweeps and then encourages the children to shake hands with them for good luck. Along with the bonfire, the center of the village festival was the maypole, a tall tree shorn of its limbs and sunk to stand upright in the ground. This was decked with flowers and tied with ribbons, which villagers would hold while dancing in circles, weaving a colorful braid around the tree, a symbol of fertility, a connection of the land and sky. And the loveliest maiden of the village would get to play the role of the May Queen. Teenagers in the field would play a game called Barley Break, which seems to be an ancestor of our modern children's game, Red Rover, where lines of people call someone over and they try to tackle their way through a clothesline of locked arms. Is that game still modern? As we played it in the 80s, but now it sounds really dangerous. Other May games included archery contests, which feature in all Robin Hood legends, and a curious invention, if you can envision it, a large stump with a log or board across it that teenagers would straddle, a laddie on one side and a lassie on the other, and they would kind of bounce up and down to get themselves excited, and then run off into the woods to get squirrely. Or I guess the more polite phrase is a bustle in your hedgerow. This is the ancestor of our children's teeter-totter. It comes from the May Games. In 1613, Humphrey King wrote a sort of eulogy for the May Games, which were already being repressed and stamped out, and a eulogy for Robin Hood. Let us talk of Robin Hood and Little John and Mary Sherwood, of Poet Skelton with his pen and many other merry men, of May Game lords and summer queens, with milkmaids dancing o'er the greens, of maypoles and of merriments that have no spot of ill pretense. But I wonder now and then to see the wise and learned men, with countenance grim and many a frown, cries, "Masters, pluck the maypole down." To hear this news, the milkmaid cries. To see this sight, the plowman dies. The Puritans were pretty successful at stamping this out. In modern America, we don't celebrate this. Our May holiday to kick off the summer is a militaristic parade from the local high school to the cemetery to celebrate a large-scale sacrifice of soldiers and then gathering to eat a lot of meat. We don't dance around the maypole. But still there's something irrepressible about the start of May. This is the time of year when sidewalks hum with people running, walking, bicycling, emerging pale from their long winters inside, binge-watching Game of Thrones, stepping out into the sunlight. In the classroom, I see my college students getting fidgety. At home, my children are asking for the playground. My son's preschool has actually invited us there to watch toddlers dance around a maypole. I know a Christian preschool would be cheaper, but these are such important formative years, and we really want our children to be good people, ethical, compassionate, a little bit pagan. This is a tough holiday to comment about because it's been so effectively erased here in America. Yes, it can help us to understand some Mary Poppins stuff and a few lines of Stairway to Heaven. I was talking earlier about the Robin Hood tax, but for Elizabeth, my wife, there's a stairway tax. Every time that song starts, she loses 8 minutes of her life. It doesn't happen all that often, though. Personally, I prefer meatloaf. The whole rites of May, when the forest would echo with laughter. Does anyone remember laughter? Now it's just useless trivia, waiting for some future filmmaker's promise to reveal shocking new secrets about the real Robin Hood. But I doubt they ever will. I do have to wonder, now that the children have forgotten, I wonder what the next generation of Robin Hood movie will be. Maybe Disney will remake it with an orangutan trying to keep his tax returns a secret. And his bow fires these poison-tipped tweets. And a multiple personality twist where Robin is also Prince John taxing the peasants to build a wall around Sherwood Forest. I should copyright that. Regardless of all that, the good news is it's almost May. Winter is getting sick of us. This is a time when we can't turn off our televisions, leave our caves, escape from Robin Hood and Washington and Hollywood. I recently found an old invitation written by a poet, Robert Herrick, some 400 years ago. It's called Corinna's Going A-Maying, but I also kind of feel like he's talking to us here today. Get up, for shame, the blooming morn upon her wings presents the God unshorn. See how Aurora throws her fair, fresh quilted colors through the air. Get up, sweet slug a bed, and see the dew-bespangled herb and tree. Rise and put on your foliage and be seen, to come forth like springtime, fresh and green. As sweet as Flora, take no care for jewels in your gown or hair. Fear not, the leaves will strew gems in abundance over you. Come, let us go while we are in our prime, and take the harmless folly of the time. Our life is short, and our days run as fast away as does the sun. Then while time serves, we are but decaying. Come, my beloved, come. Let's go a-maying. Thank you.